Hey, everybody, it's Congressman Jamie Raskin coming out to all my friends in Maryland's beautiful 8th Congressional District on this beautiful Memorial Day weekend. It is Friday, May 24th, and hello to everybody throughout Maryland and across the country who tune in now for Local Hero, the time of the week when we get to celebrate the people who make life in Maryland's beautiful 8th District so wonderful. So this is our Memorial Day weekend, and we have two marvelous Memorial Day local heroes for you, along with the Rockville Memorial Day ceremony and parade. And these two people personify and embody this amazing parade that was founded in 1944 by Bill Wood and is now an amazing long-standing tradition in the city of Rockville. It is the largest local Memorial Day parade we've got in the state of Maryland, and perhaps the biggest across the whole region. The day starts off with a ceremony remembering those who lost their lives and gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom and security, and it concludes with the annual parade, which this year features more than 80 units. 80 units for our 80th anniversary of the parade, including military and veterans groups, community groups, marching units, dance troops, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, you name it. And every year, the city of Rockville selects a local veteran or an active military member to serve as the city's Grand Marshal and to lead the festivities. And this year's is, drum roll please, Stephen Johnson, an historian with the Department of Defense's POW MIA accounting agency, and a veteran, an Air Force staff sergeant, and somebody who's been truly devoted to our community. And he lives in Silver Spring, and he's done remarkable stuff all over the country. And also with us as our local hero is Monique Ashton, the mayor of the city of Rockville, the president of the Montgomery chapter of the Maryland Municipal League. She's the first person of color to serve as mayor of Rockville, I think, in the 163-year history of the city, and she was elected in November, and so she's been in office since 2023. Let me start by welcoming and congratulating Mayor Monique Ashton and Stephen Johnson for being our local heroes for this Memorial Day weekend week.
Thank you, Congressman Raskin, and it's a real honor to be honored by someone who is our national hero. So thank you.
You are very sweet. Thank you, Mayor Ashton. Thank you for being with us. And Stephen, thank you for joining us too.
My pleasure. Anytime I can talk about the mission of the Defense POW MIA accounting agency is a good day.
Well, look, so Mayor, let's start with you. We've got so much ground to cover here. Give us a snapshot, if you would, of the history of this amazing parade.
Thank you. Yeah, so as you mentioned, Bill Wood founded the modern day Rock Memorial Day Parade as we know it in 1944. So we're celebrating 80 years. And he was a member of the Haitian community for 3 generations. And his family today is still involved. Actually, Reverend Wood is going to be his daughter. Jane Wood is going to be helping to preside over the ceremony with us. He wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity to celebrate our military heroes and those who have fallen. And there is some history about back in the early 20s that there was something that happened that was called a homecoming. And it was an opportunity to invite folks back. It was organized by the Black residents of Rockville on North Washington. And he had heard and remembered some of that and actually made it, our modern day event of what it is. So we really want to thank him as the father of our Memorial Day Parade. And we continue it on today. As you noted, we have many, many units coming out, thousands of people across the region, some even from other states come to our city. We honor our heroes and our military members. We also are going to have our volunteer fire departments. And I also want to acknowledge the American Legion and Honor and Remember has been an important part because the day is about reflection, it's about unity, and it's about gratitude, right? Honoring those who've served our country.
No, that's so awesome. Thank you for filling us in on the details, because I know the kids love it and the families love to come out, but it's wonderful to know that there's just this really rich and wonderful history to what we're doing too. Stephen, Every year, the city of Rockville honors one military person or a veteran by being the Grand Marshal of the parade. You are the Grand Marshal of the parade. That is a very big deal. It's kind of like a lifetime achievement award for everything you've done. You were in the Air Force as a staff sergeant. You were an historian with DoD, focused on the prisoners of war and the MIA families, and continuing to fight for all the information that you can find about them, and for the return of any personal belongings, remains, of course. Tell us a bit about what your work is like, what you're doing, and what you're going to be reflecting on during this Memorial Day weekend.
Well, my work is driven through archival research. A lot of the material that we use to track down the remains of prior service members is based on information that we have been acquiring over the last decade and a half for World War II. The mission for the Korean War and for Vietnam went back even farther. They only added World War II to our mission in 2010. But whenever a person was killed in World War II, an individual deceased personnel file was created. Sometimes they're very robust and they provide a lot of information about where the person was killed, the circumstances, how the body was recovered, subsequently identified, and then returned to the family in the United States or buried overseas at the family's request. For the people that are missing, however, we've got, again, sometimes robust, sometimes not so robust information on where they went missing, last known location, circumstances of loss, and then the IDPF for the individual reflects what they tried to do to identify them in the immediate post-war era. And at the end of that, they would say, we are unable to identify them, and the remains were declared non-recoverable. And the family was notified of that. And that's where it ended until quite recently, when we decided to be proactive about investigating these missing individuals from World War II.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that work that you're doing on behalf of those families and the whole country. Say a word about your own service in the Air Force and people you served with, if you would.
I served in both South Dakota and RAF Mildenhall in the United Kingdom. I was a security policeman on flight line security. So there were many times when I was in South Dakota where they would have an alert and they would simulate the aircraft, simulate the weapons, simulate the crew. They once simulated my box lunch and all of my breaks, but I was always there, walking around an empty hard stand in the middle of winter. But that's what you had to do to be prepared. You never knew when it was going to be a genuine situation. So you had to guard the aircraft on the flight line. And then I did the same thing when I went to the United Kingdom. But I still have friends. What's interesting is I still have friends that I made from my time in the Air Force, still in contact, usually through Facebook. But the kind of relationships you develop as an active duty service member can and often do last your entire life.
That's terrific. Well, look, Mayor Ashton, I know that the occasion of this great parade is now just the centerpiece of a whole weekend of activities for these hometown holidays. There's a lot going on in terms of fitness activities and yoga and great performances, including by the rock band Everclear. Tell us about some of the highlights of what's happening over the course of the weekend.
So this is a big celebration for our entire community, and we welcome everyone, even if you're not from Rockville, come join us. And I also just wanted to say thank you to all the military servicemen and women who are out there and their families, because they sacrifice so much. And so it is timely for us to plan something like this around Memorial Day, because it is about reflection and celebration. And we want to thank the entire community for coming out. So we'll have bands playing, more than a dozen bands playing all throughout Saturday and Sunday. It is completely free. We have rides for children. We have food. We'll have kids activities. So it is a big party here in Rockville. It is the place to come if you're around this region during Memorial Day weekend. Please come out, and then please come to our parade. The parade will have the Rockville Concert Band playing at 9 a.m. Then at 9:30 we'll start our ceremony. And then 10:30, the parade kickoff begins. We're going to have many units coming throughout, different kinds of cultures celebrated, different branches of service. And again, we thank the Woods family, the American Legion, as well as so many Rockville staff and volunteers who are coming together to put this event on. I will note, as a surprise, we'll be also awarding 9 of the units best performance and best in show of the parade. So in addition to honoring our heroes, we'll have a little bit of a reflection and some fun to, really reflect on all that they've sacrificed and the fact that we must remember and take time out of every year to celebrate those who have really given the ultimate sacrifice for us.
Well, thank you, Mayor Ashton. We are going to remember the people we've lost, the people who have served us, and we're going to celebrate their memories with their families and their friends and admirers. And we're going to enjoy the beautiful town of Rockville, the second largest municipality in the state. And all of us are going to converge on your beautiful town on Monday for the Memorial Day parade. And I hope to see everybody there. And we will be marching behind Stephen Johnson, our amazing Grand Marshal. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Mayor Ashton, for convening us. And I'm wishing everybody a happy Memorial Day weekend. And I hope to see you in beautiful Rockville. And thanks to our local heroes.